Just something I wrote earlier at work. If death is the quality of dying, the experience of dying, then what happens to consciousness after it experiences the quality associated with death? So our experiences in life, I experience red as an apple, red as a sunrise, sunset, red as a color of wine, passion, blood, so many different things. Red can be a metaphor for base chakra, base consciousness, a lower form of consciousness. Red can be protective. Red can be, dragon's blood, incense, so many different things. So I have the qualia associated with red. So death is an experience. Experience equals consciousness. Consciousness equals experience in life. So if death is you're experiencing the act of cessation of a life in one form, if consciousness goes on after death is the question. Because what if death is just a qualia, associated with the life that you're currently in? I think that's an interesting question to ask. Maybe in the future, once we develop some more advanced technologies, we can actually understand certain things with maybe consciousness better, how the brain works. Maybe we can understand that better. I'm not an atheist or a theist. I wouldn't be so bold to be an atheist or a theist, given the fact that I can go into a church and have a experience with the church by, basically choosing to experience the things associated with the church. Then I can take my mind, my experience, my consciousness, my body, whatever, to another place and experience being an atheist by not having belief in a deity. That's another thing, another question to ask. How do you know if you need a God or not? How do you know if you're really an atheist or not until you've actually lived your whole life? And then on your deathbed, you're, expiring from life. Then you can sit there and say, well, you never needed a God. But what if on your deathbed, you cry out to something, you say a prayer for redemption or hope because you're, scared or something, or maybe it's just a natural qualia that we have associated with certain things that, make us kind of seek those things in those types of moments. So see where I'm going with that? Like, you can't really say that you're godless because you can say you don't need something in the current moment. It's like if I'm not hungry, I don't need a cracker. But maybe later in life when I become hungry, I need a cracker. But to say I don't need a cracker ever, how would I know that? It's like, what if I'm in a car with somebody offer me a cracker and I'm like, oh, there was a cracker, that's good, it's a courteous thing, you take the cracker, you eat it, whatever. See how that works? So to sit there and say to be godless, and again, I'm not an atheist or a theist, doesn't really make sense to me. To be an atheist is to state absolutes. I'm absolutely sure that there's not a God. To be a theist is to sit there and say I'm absolutely sure that there is a God. So why don't I just sit there and say I'm just a conscious being having an experience on planet Earth, just trying my best to, spread love and kindness or, whatever I'm into. That's pretty much how I feel about life nowadays. I'm pretty much in life just to kind of, be peace and to boogie board, catch some good waves after work, earn some honest money, and just do my own thing. Stay vegan. I'm not in life to try to dominate people or belittle people or abuse people. I'm not doing any nefarious acts behind the scene. I'm just here just to live. And, living's a lot more than, just breeding and feeding. There's so much more depth to life. I mean, if you have kids, then you define life as, it's much more than just breeding and feeding, because there's the love associated with having kids, the responsibility, the issues that come with that, the quality that come with that. So anyway, I'm curious if death, the cessation of living in one's form, let's say I get to my life, I'm, Timothy, that's me, I'm dying, I'm laying on my deathbed, I'm 77 or 87 or 97, whatever the hell, years old, and I'm experiencing agonal breathing. My brain is firing off, releasing DMT to help me, to ease into death better. That could be a potential thing. I think I read something about that, so don't quote me on that. But, and then that's the act of death, and then from there, it's like, you die, and then your consciousness then goes someplace else to experience something else. I mean, somebody asked me if I believe in a soul, and I think a soul is an experience. Think of a third eye, the concept, what do you want to say, the metaphor, the allegory, the figurative way of viewing something. Think of a third eye as the seat of the soul, let's say. The seat of the soul is based on a seat is empty, but you fill it up with experience. With character and integrity. That's what I believe the soul, kind of like a Buddhist concept, is made from. You can't sell your character or integrity unless the thing that you're allied with, let's say, if you believe in this stuff, like a record company, okay? Somebody says they sold their soul to a record company. So the record company asks you to dress in goth and leather, but you're like this hippie before them, but you want to make money. So then what you do is you have the experiences associated with that, and then you kind of feel like you're in this debased mode of character where it's asking you to do something less with your character than how you were raised. See how that works? So you feel like you're selling your soul because you're giving up your experience to something to have somebody else's experience shoved on your life. So see how that works? You can't actually sell your soul. That seat of the soul, the third eye, let's say, and I believe the third eye is from intuition. I'm not saying it's something you open, you become Superman or Superwoman and fly away. I'm not making fun of that either, but you see, I'm just using it as a metaphor to teach a lesson. And that is that, if you could, the seat is emptied when you do things that go against your character or integrity. The seat is filled back up again when you have experiences associated with character building exercises. So there's really no such thing as selling a soul. It's just a metaphor for doing actions that somebody else wants you to do, which debase your character. If something could take your soul, in essence, it could control your character, your experience, your actions. But since it can't, then think about that. Then you can't sell. So anyways, what I'm getting at is I just wonder about this with consciousness, with studies on consciousness. If something goes on after death, I think it's a very fascinating thing to think about. It just seems like qualia. It's like, what is the qualia of falling to sleep? We get tired, drowsy, maybe irritable. Some people get hungry. Some people get up and get thirsty. We get ready for bed. We get ready to lay down and sleep. And then it's like, we go to sleep. We feel ourselves dozing off. We have all these qualia associated with that. These things kind of lined up that we do. Not everybody's is the same because everybody has a different experience. Like, experience equals consciousness. Consciousness equals experience. So if you think about that, it's just a fascinating thing. It's like, why wouldn't we have the death would just be a qualia of cessation of life within one life, if that makes sense. So I don't want to get too far out there. I'm just trying to phrase it in, very layman terms, if that makes sense. But it's just an idea. I personally think that maybe consciousness does go on. I've read one or two scientific things, but it's not necessarily, from reputable sources too. People that are, on Institute of Arts and Ideas or Institute of Arts, and I think it's what it's called, IAI. Anyway, some other reputable sources like Big Think and Lisa Miller, I think her name is, just talking about how consciousness is our conscious experience. But it's just a really fascinating thing. I think that the more we learn about how the brain works, I think we'll be able to understand certain things better. So it's, one of those things I look forward to learning more about in the future. Anyway, it's just a thought.